Thunder rumbled outside the grand gates of the Whitmore Mansion as rain poured against its marble walls. The night was dark, but not darker than the secret hidden inside. Eliza, the new maid, clutched her shawl tightly as she followed the butler through the endless corridors. She had only been working there for 2 days, yet every hallway, every portrait seemed to whisper something eerie. But when her eyes caught a certain painting at the end of the hallway, her heart stopped. The golden frame gleamed under the chandelier's light, and there painted so vividly was a little boy. The same boy she had cared for in the orphanage 6 years ago. Her hand flew to her mouth as tears filled her eyes. She whispered, trembling, "No, it can't be. Sir, the boy lived with me in the orphanage." Eliza had come to the Whitmore Mansion desperate for work. The orphanage where she had spent most of her life helping children had shut down because of lack of funds. She had nowhere else to go. When she heard that the wealthy Whitmore family was hiring new staff, she applied immediately. Her tasks were simple: clean the halls, polish the silver, and stay invisible. The mansion felt cold, lifeless, and haunted by silence. The master, Lord Alexander Whitmore, was rarely seen. Rumor said he'd lost his only son years ago in a terrible accident, and since then, he'd shut himself off from the world. On her second evening, while dusting the grand piano, Eliza noticed a portrait being uncovered for restoration. A young boy smiled from the painting, 10 years old maybe, with chestnut hair, bright eyes, and a tiny scar under his left eyebrow. Her breath caught. That scar. That smile. It was Samuel, the little boy she had once fed, bathed, and sung to sleep at the orphanage. The same boy who used to call her Mama Eliza. Tears blurred her vision as she stepped back. The butler noticed her trembling. "Miss Eliza, are you all right?" Her voice shook. "This boy, this is Samuel. He lived with me in the orphanage." The butler froze. "That's impossible," he said quietly. "That's Master Alexander's son, William Whitmore. He died 6 years ago." Eliza felt the room spin. Died? No. Samuel had disappeared one stormy night without a trace. She had searched everywhere for him, begged the police for help, but there had never been a clue. Now, here he was in a painting inside this mansion. Her mind raced. He was taken from the orphanage, wasn't he? She whispered. The butler's expression hardened. "You should not speak of this again." He turned away, leaving her with more questions than answers. But Eliza couldn't stay silent. That night, unable to sleep, she returned to the hallway with a candle. She stood before the portrait, staring into the boy's painted eyes so full of life. Her heart ached. "Where are you, Samuel?" she whispered. A voice startled her from behind. "You knew him?" She turned and saw Lord Whitmore himself standing in the doorway, tall, tired, and cold. Eliza nodded slowly. "Yes, sir. He lived with me in the orphanage. He was the sweetest child. I thought he had been adopted, but—" Lord Whitmore's expression softened with pain. "He was taken from there," he said quietly. "My late wife couldn't bear to lose him while I was abroad. She arranged for his adoption in secret. But the boy, he ran away 2 months later. The night of the fire. Eliza gasped. Fire? What fire? The one that burned down our summer house, he said, his voice breaking. He never came out. Eliza shook her head, tears streaming. No, sir. He's not gone. I'd know if he was. I'd feel it. Lord Whitmore looked at her strangely. For the first time in years, someone had spoken to him with hope instead of pity. You sound just like his mother, he whispered. I sound like someone who loved him, Eliza replied softly. Days passed. Eliza's warmth began to change the mansion. Her kindness filled the halls that had long been cold and empty. She told stories of Samuel's laughter, of how he'd share his food with the younger orphans, how he dreamed of finding his family someday. Lord Whitmore listened in silence each time, pretending to stay composed though his hands would tremble when she wasn't looking. Every story brought back a piece of the son he had lost. One afternoon, while cleaning the attic, Eliza discovered an old wooden box hidden beneath a pile of blankets. Inside were small, wrinkled sketches, a woman holding a boy's hand, labeled Mama E. And another drawing of a tall man with a cane, labeled Father. Eliza pressed the papers to her chest, her tears falling freely. He remembered us both, she whispered. That evening, she showed the drawings to Lord Whitmore. He stared at them in silence, his composure breaking. He thought of me, he said, his voice trembling. Eliza nodded. Every night. They sat together in quiet grief and quiet love for the same child. Weeks later, as Eliza walked through the nearby village, she saw a thin boy standing near the bakery. His clothes were worn, his hair messy, but those eyes. Those same, gentle eyes. Her heart pounded. Samuel, she called. The boy froze. Slowly, he turned. His lips trembled. Mama. Eliza. She ran to him, wrapping him in her arms, crying uncontrollably. He was alive. Her boy was alive. He told her how he had escaped the fire, how he'd wandered from town to town, surviving on scraps, never knowing how to find home again. When Eliza brought him back to the mansion, Lord Whitmore fell to his knees, clutching his son as if afraid to let go. My boy, my William, my Samuel, he cried. Eliza stood nearby, tears shining in her eyes, her heart full of peace. For once, the mansion was not silent, it was filled with laughter, warmth, and life. As the sun set that evening, the portrait of the boy glowed softly in the golden light. It was no longer a reminder of loss, it was a symbol of reunion. Eliza whispered through her tears, "You're home now, my boy." And in that moment, every tear, every prayer, and every broken memory came together. Like a portrait finally completed.